Hello there folks, it is SeKo Starcraft and I'm super excited to bring you one of our replays that me and my buddy William submitted for the Funday Monday tournament. So you see the allied chat right now. That's because we are doing a battlecruiser rush. The constraint is we are not allowed to expand until we get a battlecruiser out. On this side are two Zerg players who are supposed to announce what they are going to do. We'll see if that actually happens. Two Zergs. Now, they only had a couple of options, which were Mass Queen, Spellcasters, or Mass Air. So we're still trying to decide earlier on. We've got to try and scout and figure out what our opponents are going to do. So I'm going to head out and start making a wall off, because it's two Zergs regardless. Even on the Mass Queen one, you're still allowed to make a few extra units. You're just not allowed to make anything really that outnumbers your queens. So we have, that look like a very early pool going down there. 9 pool on one side. And I can't remember which one of these guys was platinum. I think it was, I don't even know how to pronounce that name. Komataizo? Sure. Versus Whimsical Mr. Wu. I like that. That's a good name too. Team Dagron. And of course we've got me, Omniscient. Gold medal game. We're talking about this because just earlier in the day was the gold medal game between Canada and Sweden. And we got to watch that, and it was fantastic. Anywho, because it's a battlecruiser rush, my plan is to get my buddy Will to really just rush straight for those battlecruisers. I'm going to get out a little bit of different tech. We're allowed to build other things. We just have to make sure that the first things that we make before we expand are battlecruisers. Zerg players out here, surprisingly, have not gone for any expansions yet. Maybe they're both a little bit concerned about getting killed. We finally have Whimsical Mr. Wu coming down here to throw down a base. Now I'm going to get a Reaper out, mostly because I've got a scout and I want to be able to put a little bit of light pressure on while we essentially are contained and we can't build any more bases for a while. So it's pretty important for us. And also throwing down my orbital, keeping ahead of my supply. And there's the factory going down on this side. So now once again I'm still got to make sure I understand what my opponent is doing. If you look at it right now, you can't tell what strategy they could be going. This could be Mass Air, this could be Mass Queens, this could be for the spell casting units. There are some lings out on the map, but once again, their rules aren't too tight for us to not be able to, you know, make a few extra Zerglings just to be able to tell. My seeing these Zerglings, though, does also prompt me to know that it's likely that it's going to be Mass Queen we're going against. If it was Mass Air, I think they'd be a little bit stricter to the rules. So that's kind of my first inkling. Second Reaper on the way. My factory, fair bit behind Williams, but his starport is going to help him get that expand. What I really want to be able to do is help control the map so that he can more easily get teched up and start getting that economy moving. When me and him play games, it's generally down to myself to really focus on getting a really sick micro and getting the kind of tactics together, and I leave it up to him to really start building out that economy. So we see the hatch. I see a gas on that side. And what I'm trying to get an understanding now is just the count of queens. We'll get myself a free drone, because that's cool. There's no speed on the way for these lings, so I can essentially kite forever. They're going to sneak out. And these Reapers are just going to try and figure out what's going on. So, down goes the fusion core on this side. My sense is to get up another barracks, and I should be starting up my starport here in just a second. Pretty sure. Everyone good? Absolutely. Speed is on the way. Reapers are going to come out. They just want to scout and see what's going on. They do see this hatchery in place. More Reapers. Starport. And I'm building out the rest of my tech here, because essentially we're going to transition into Mass Marines. I'm fairly certain that this is going to be Mass Queens. And a little bit of Reaper micro never hurt anybody. So that works out well. At least I get all those. Those are drones that didn't get made. And lings that are no longer going to be available to scout. So he's making a bunch more lings. Essentially because he does want to control this at some point. And now I've really got to come in here and figure out if, well, first battlecruiser you can see is being made from William. My fusion core is just on the way. Lots of Reapers down here. Not a ton of Lings, but enough Lings they should be able to deal with the Reapers. They get a great position. No gas really being used anymore. Now it's just right into those Mass Queens. Upgrades started for Whimsical Mr. Wu. And I will get that Queen, but it looks like these Reapers are kind of on a clock. I'm going to get as many kills as you can before they eventually die off. So we can tell if we go to the units count here, we have got 11 Queens total in place. Battlecruiser is done now for Will, so he should be going for his expansion here pretty quick. For me, into my Mass Marines, because I've got lots of minerals, I just don't have all the gas I need right now. It's really hard to afford battlecruisers on one base. And command center, there we go. More and more Queens starting to come out here. He was working on those upgrades. His partner is not just yet. Kind of surprised with this style they haven't pushed creep further or, you know, taken a few more bases. But whatever. Lots of Marines starting to come out now. And my battlecruiser is on the way. The plan here is, because we're quite certain that it is going to be Mass Queens, is that we've got to go with a heavy bio force. If you go with something that shoots very slow, like let's say tanks, yes, tanks are really good against Queens, but they shoot so much slower that you give time for the Queens to transfuse. If you use Marines and Marauders, the Queens obviously deal, you know, decent damage in some sense, but if you're well upgraded with a ton of bio forces, you can generally roll through a giant pile of Queens. I know this more specifically because I've gone Mass Queen against a Terran before, who beat me by going Mass Marines. I'm now coming down to the bottom. Our next thing to do right now is to essentially take our side of the map. Really move out there, get all the expansions, because we have time. They've got to move the entire creep across the map before essentially we are going to be attacked at all. So I'm telling my buddy William here to just get all of your economy going, get your tech going. And if we look at the economy side of things, we're actually fairly far behind our Zerg players here. But that's pretty understandable considering that we've been relegated to essentially one base for the longest time because of our constraint of getting the battlecruisers out. Reaper controlling the watchtower. This is important for me to be able to see when these bases are taken. Once again, I'm very surprised the bases haven't been, so we're not as far behind economy-wise as I originally thought. Bunkers at the front, just in case they were to use a little bit of, you know, Zergling pressure or something funny like that, we'd be in position. Lots of barracks in place, and more command centers. I could be focusing a bit more on upgrades, but right now what I really want to do is focus on getting out a really big economy. There's no reason not to, right? We've got time to be able to do this. Gold base. Rocks aren't even down. This battlecruiser might kill these rocks by the time those Queens do. And if we go to the units count, 13, 14 Queens, 7 Queens. But they are getting out some other tech as well. Moving up into Lair, 2-2 on the way. And they do have the rest of their tech. Once again, you can supplement your Queen force with a few extra units. And that's really going to be the big focus of this game, as we'll see soon, is what kind of unit mix they use to try to offset our very crazy bio side of things. Telling William that he needs to go and get that gold here pretty soon. Stim on the way, very late stim, but once again, it's not as big of a deal. I'm doing really great on gas right now. I haven't need to take in any more gases because I'm just building bio now that I have my battlecruiser out. And some people might argue, dude, you should be making lots and lots of battlecruisers as part of this. And I probably could be doing that later on. But the thing for us in this kind of style is that the battlecruiser constraint is really about limiting economy. And now that that's done, it's really about pumping up economy. Told William to send somebody off to the watchtower so we can watch that. I'm actually very happy with the state of the game right now because we don't really have a ton of stuff. If we look at the supplies, they're sitting fairly equal. Purple Zerg players obviously pulling further and further ahead here. He's gotten his economy moving very well. Upgrades finally on the go for me. I'm going to have to get down Armory. And I'm actually getting down lots of starports now because I want to be able to supplement my bio, very mineral-focused army, with a lot more ravens. We can see that economy-wise, we've really started to catch up now, because we have down those orbitals and a few extra things. Couple of corruptors out. They did see that we had battle cruisers. They might be planning to be able to hold off our battle cruisers right now. Oh, that guy got stuck. I didn't even notice that. Poor guy. I did see the couple of corruptors, so I throw down a couple of medevacs just in case something stupid happened that I wasn't prepared for. Still producing workers, armory on the way, another engineering bay. All the starports in place. William's finally going to be taking this gold base a little bit later than I would have wanted. But what can you do? I'm taking a good chunk of my army because I want to go down there and check for these bases. I should, what would be really smart is to come over here and try and deny creep. Use small groups of armies to come in here and try to just pressure this. But with all these queens in place, you probably wouldn't be able to kill any of them. Your best hope would be to maybe pick off a little bit of creep tumors. Told William to send his army north. He's going to come up here and clean out this watchtower again. Corruptors will get away. But the point of that is it's a little bit distracting while I come down here with this force just to be able to check. Whoopsies. Actually, income's a good thing we can look at right now. Harvester-wise, Blue Zerg player really starting to get up in the lead there. I've managed to get up to a decent amount of economy. William staying pretty consistent. This base isn't finished yet. But that's going to allow him to have a bigger army because he's not spending it on workers. We're both fairly supply block, and we also see some swarm host stuff. So they're just getting the entire trove of tech. And this is, it's been 16 minutes and nobody's really attacked anybody else. I heard some morphing. Oh, it's banelings morphing. So they do have mostly queens here, but they are going to supplement what they have here with a few extra units. And those banelings are going to be really important because I'm so marine focused right now that I'm actually quite worried that banelings could do very, very, very well against me. Starting to kick into a huge macro swing now, keeping out of my supply depots, double upgrades happening, and armor. Queens don't do a ton of damage. It's +2. That is versus air and ground. Oh, really? It does 14 against ground as well? I didn't know that. I thought it was less. Alright, so yeah, it does 6 damage against ground. That's clicking on a Hydra, that's why. It does 6 damage. So if you have, let's say, a battlecruiser that comes out of the box with 3 armor and you get 2 or 3 armor upgrades, queens do almost no damage to them. So getting pretty good in the supplies. I'm at 150, Will's at 120, 170, and 130, 120 about there. Creep's getting closer. The action is getting pretty close here. Moving around with just my marines. I'm going to go and knock down these rocks and keep expanding over here. No reason not to. Main base is starting to mine a little bit low. Kill those rocks, so I'm going to deny any type of really silly runaround pieces. I scan. I did see some banelings in that army there, which is somewhat worrisome for me. And more command centers. Now that the tension, you can start to feel the tension starting to rise here a little bit, right? Hydras in with the queens. They might be expecting lots and lots of battlecruisers out of us. Starting to get the Raven count out. Now here's a weird spot. Like, we don't want to get too contained onto this ramp here, right? I don't really want to get into a point where it's more difficult for us to attack than it is for them. So I really want to use this open field here as our point of battle. Still have my one guy over here giving vision. More command centers on the way. If you got money to spend in these kind of games, get down extra command centers, just so we can have more scans, and particularly when we might have to go up against creep. It's going to be more important here. 3-2 on the way for the Marines, so they're going to do lots of damage. Getting pretty crazy extra minerals here. I'm about to be maxed. Now we're getting a little bit closer. Just thinking about going for a bit of a drop, something a little funky, just to put things out a little bit here. But I know that the attack is really close to happening. Wow. The Marine actually did get the kills on that. Queens are right there. I can see them. We can see each other at this point. Going for a small drop. Just wanted to try and pull off a little bit of time, get a little bit of pressure out of the way. But I'm running home with this now. There's no surprise left in it. Scan, see the burrowed banelings. Oh, look at all those wasted Seeker missiles. So gross. That was really sucky. That was so much energy wasted by me there too. Upgrade still on the way. Fusion core for my buddy. I'm pretty much maxed. He's pretty close to max. What I want to do is I want to take the first fights because I've had a little bit more practice just because I've got, I think, pretty good micro. And then I want him to be able to back me up if I lose everything. I'm starting to make Marauders now, you can see, as part of my army comp. Good little control with the Corruptors there, trying to pick off what they can. I probably should get down more production facilities, but this is so tense. I should say something, but it speaks for itself. Banelings coming in from the north now. Crash into my units. William pulls back, as I asked him to. So all the banelings are gone. Most of the DPS is gone. Zerg players plummeted down in supply. William's still at 160. I'm at 110. So I lost the most there, but you see these baneling bombs. He doesn't see them. And he scans at the wrong time. So that really sets us back a bit as well. And I'm telling Will, turn around and shoot those guys. Shoot those buggers. So, once again, back into heavy production. Ravens. Throwing down a planetary up north. Will's got his base taken. These bases haven't really been taken yet down here. And I think that's a bit of a problem for them, as they're starting to get a bit more mined out here. You can see a lot of extra workers not needed here. What I do need to do is start moving some of my workers and start getting into more Marauder production. You see my supply is taking its time to grow back up here. 6 more barracks on the way now, finally. This is going to allow me to really start pumping out a lot more Marauders. It's going to be important for me. And we're going to just essentially back away now again. Infestor play. Very, very good, important unit for them in this. And the other thing is that we have our blue Zerg player that's got Greater Spire. Double Spire, actually, for extra upgrades. Me just pushing out front, trying to get in a little bit of damage. See, Marauders obviously take a lot more banelings, so I want them to be as cost ineffective as possible. So I'm making tech labs on this side here to be able to get out even more Marauders. Getting a good chunk of the Ravens coming out now. Supply-wise, we're starting to see Zerg players are starting to creep back up now, and they're getting the better unit mix now. Vipers to be able to get... Yeah, go Marines. Vipers to be able to get any blinding clouds down. Should have focused on a baneling or two. The baneling landmines, I think, were really, really important for them earlier on, but now that that trick has been played, we kind of got a bit more of an understanding. I don't have any medevacs in my army. I haven't been building any medevacs. For me, it's more about just sending lambs to the slaughter. Do save the Ravens there. Just a handful of Marines pushing in. I don't mind losing a few there. For me, I'm just trying to change out some of my supply. See, I'm getting pretty close to max pretty soon here as well. Big Seeker missile play. That took out so much stuff. 10 kills, 7 kills, because all the banelings were moving in with those queens as well. Lots and lots of Vipers here. Vipers are super, super fragile, though. Taking a small skirmish right now. Transfuses aren't being done super, super well here. I'm telling William to watch over the blinding clouds right now. If the blinding clouds go down, back off. This is a great place for us to attack. You can see that this big hump in the middle there is actually giving less surface area. Good fungal growth's going down right now, hitting tons of units. My supply's gone down quite a bit, still at about 160. William sitting about the same. So we are managing to hang in there pretty good, but now we got these broodlords in place. Both of their supplies have gone down quite a bit. Nice, you grab all the vipers there. So Illmadic's getting in a pretty good amount of damage here. I'm starting to build more units. Big fungals. Great job with the broodlords. This isn't something William can really fight though. I know he's pushing in a little bit there. I'm telling him he's going to have to retreat. He's not going to be able to sit there and take this fight forever. We got to come up with a little bit better strategy. Still more ravens on the way. Marauders, marines. Marauders, such a tanky unit. Take a lot longer for the queens to kill. Obviously do quite a bit of damage as well. Pretty saturated up now in all these bases. I could probably start sending some units to die pretty soon. I've got a huge bank and probably use more supply in actual fighting units. Now it's time to be a little bit more agile. What I want to try and do is pick off some of these stray units if I can. I don't actually have many marines in this army, unfortunately. A lot of marauders in there because I've changed over my mixture quite heavily. And William's medevacs are healing me up. They've finally taken these bases. This one's getting a little bit more done up. And Ultralisk's being finished. The great thing about this map is almost all the fighting is happening right here in the middle. And everybody's just expanded perfectly fine. Big smiley face. What I want to do is find that perfect opening to use my seeker missiles on the broodlords. He's got his corruptors in place here though, so I've got to be a bit more careful. Couple point defense drones going down, keep myself safe. Units a little bit spread out here. I need to get them a little bit better collected. A lot more starports going down. I've got these in place in case I do need to transition into Vikings as part of this play. Oh yeah, Will did go for a nice little drop. Is he going to get the Greater Spire? He is. Great snipe. I didn't even notice that. That was a fantastic move by him. Oh shit, son. This was a big turning point in the game. I almost didn't notice it. And they're distracted right now. One makes it out with 1 hit point. So now's a good time for me. Now I'm going to push in. I'm telling William to come up and defend me. Not defend me. Reinforce me as I go and push in for the attack. Now that the broodlords are done, we can actually go in there and get some more damage in. William's army's coming in. This is like musket fighting back in the day. All the Ultralisks are stuck in the back though, and we're just sending lines of units to their death. Scanning. Just want to make sure we don't hit any baneling bombs. I have another group heading to the south. I want to be able to go and start pressuring their expansions. Telling William to watch his move commands. Focus down the Ultralisks. And they will get in the damage they need to. There's a great game by them, but queens take so long to remake. They're making 7 queens at a time, 6 queens at a time, but you need that really huge amount to be able to deal with it. Sick game. Really, really fun. That was actually one of the most fun Starcraft games I played in a long time. 2v2, constrained Funday Monday submission. SeKo Starcraft. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll talk with you later.